Today marks 1746 day of day lessons, day reflections. And today we speak about wanting and needing things. I think that there's huge difference between what you want and what you need. And I think it's such a beautiful topic to discuss because it's easy to really want something. It's very easy to want something. But I think that really understand that when you really pursue something that you really need, I think that the things that you want might even change, or maybe you will get what you want byproduct. But a lot of times when we're pursuing something that you want, sometimes it will remove and will not be able to get what you need. And I know that in the past, at some point, I had this video as well that there's a huge difference between want and need. But I think that it's always good to remember that because I think this is one of the foundational things. Because it's very easy is to really start adding to your life, but to things that you really want. But I think that we need to realize that we need to subtract things so we can really focus on the things that we need, on the priorities, on the things that really matter. Because I think that it's very easy to in life to add things that it really do not matter in the long run. So today we'll share 7 things that you'll be able to reflect on when you think about the topic, what do I want and what do I need? So number one, what you want is often about comfort. What you need is often about growth. And I think that we're able to ask ourselves that, like, sometimes we say, okay, I really want my life to be a little bit easier. I want some kind of relief. So this is what I want. I want life to be easier. I want some kind of relief from the pressure, from the struggle. But what you really need is to become stronger, wiser, more knowledgeable, more abilities that are developed in a higher way, to more resourcefulness, more skills that are under your belt. So this is what you need because when you will have those things, when you will have those needs met and your skill set see actually grows beyond the limit, at that moment you're able to say like, my life became easier. I have some relief because I focused on something that I needed, and I needed growth. I needed development. I needed evolve to something different. I needed to transform myself, and that really allowed me to focus on things that matter. Because wanting relief is wrong. What is right is building life around discomfort. I mean, able to really become stronger with discomfort. That's of course will get what you actually want. Number two, you can desperately want something that would actually hurt you. That means that you potentially could have want of another person, stay in a relationship with the wrong person, and I really want to be with this person, but that would actually could hurt you. And I think that we able to ask, okay, what do I want, and what kind of things it brings when I really get what I want, what it brings into my life. And sometimes you can realize that it might be not bring anything that's beneficial. Even sometimes like winning a lottery ticket and making money like this, and that's why a lot of people like 70 or 80%, I know I forgot the numbers, but people lose that money because they don't have the financial literacy and discipline to really maintain that money. And I think that sometimes you even feel worse. You had it and you lost it altogether. And I think that is extremely important to really understand that sometimes what you want is actually not good for you. And asking, okay, when I get my what they want, will it actually will add value to me or will take away from me in different aspects of our lives? Number three, what you want usually asks, what would make me feel better? What you want usually asks, what would make me feel better? It's interesting that sometimes we want just to feel better, just to feel, because all the things is emotional needs, and I think that sometimes we need to realize that all the ones that are based just on emotion alone could potentially lead to wrong direction, wrong actions. Because I think that when we think about designing our future, our vision, our dedication, our commitments for the future, we need to combine the logic and our heart and our emotions because sometimes we can really realize that some some things that we really want is totally purely emotion based, and those emotions actually are not the ones that we're supposed to make decisions from, because certain emotions, that is joy, bliss, fulfillment, those emotions are great, so we're able to make decisions based on that. But sometimes we make decisions based on other emotions, that fear of rejection, fear of all other things, fear of judgment, that could be our shame, that we're making that decision based on shame, and we want to not feel that shame. So that means we're asking, what kind of emotions do I include in this want? Number four, sometimes what you call peace is actually avoidance. And sometimes you said, I want peace. But interesting thing, that's what I found is all that peace requires confrontation, boundaries, difficult decisions, uncomfortable truth. So that means that peace most times comes after the storm. Peace comes after the storm. So what it means that when we want peace, we're not able to avoid all the things and hoping that the peace will come. No, if you actually avoid, that will create even more storm down the road. That will be even bigger storm. The longer we avoid it, the bigger storm that is, because that storm is gathering energy to really blow your mind. And I think that when the faster you actually say that peace is through storm, and if you actually want peace and you understand that peace comes from a storm, when you pursue that peace through that storm, that at the beginning that storm will be extremely limited, extremely small, because it didn't build up yet, it didn't build momentum yet. And that's just extremely important, is to really do those hard conversations, build those boundaries before it becomes a big storm. And again, I want to have peace, but what I need is having those difficult conversations. That's what will bring peace altogether. Number five, what you need may be the exact thing you don't want. And that's an interesting thing, that what you need is what you don't want. It might be that you say that I want confidence, but it means what you don't want to go and speak with strangers. And that's just example. Like, one of the things that to develop confidence and ability to communicate is to go in and speak with strangers. And you said, I don't want to do that. So what you need is to develop confidence, but you don't want is going and develop that confidence. And this is a one place that to really sabotage people, because people need something, but they don't want to do something that really allows them to develop the things that they need. And there's much more things that if you really want to be understood, you need to understand yourself first. Interesting thing. And sometimes, if you want to understand yourself, you need to stay in stillness by yourself, in solitude, by yourself for a significant amount of time to be able to reflect, understand who you are. Because when you understand who you are, understand yourself, at that moment it's much easier to other people to understand you as well. Number six, your current self is not always qualified to decide what your future self needs. And it's such an interesting thing that sometimes we say, okay, what my future self needs. That's a beautiful question, because I said, okay, I this is what I want right now, but we can ask, like, what potentially my future me, like if I have the vision, what potentially my vision, my the me in that vision would need. And I think that such a beautiful thing when you're able to really start working on the things that might be needed by the future you. And I think it's such a beautiful thing. And when you start really focusing on that, you're able to really live a life in a way that even the future you starts thanking you, because, like, wow, I appreciate my old version of me who start working on the things that matter for me right now, that future you. And again, this is again what you want and what you need, and I think that you're able to include that future us. Number seven, the last one, is that the deepest form of self-love is giving yourself what you need, not everything what you want. This is the highest self-love, because say that, okay, I want eat a chocolate cake. This is the very simplistic example. I want to eat chocolate cake. That's what I want. But what I need is energy. And if I need energy, then I need exercise. I need to eat healthy. I need to take care of my of my routines and habits, this is what I need. So that means self love will do what's necessary to develop energy. And if eating cake is taking away from that, you will not do it because you have massive self love. And it's interesting because I learned that really having discipline is self love because the lack of self love leads to undisciplined life. The more you love yourself, the more you realize that you want to nurture yourself. When you lack self love, nurturing disappears because if you like yourself or maybe even hate yourself, because I really love the example. It says that if you hate somebody, you will never add value to that person who that you hate. And if you hate yourself, that means you will not add value to yourself. Is that our example is that if you like a flower, you pluck it out. If you love the flower, you will nurture it. You will put in the sun. You will put a lot of water. And again, this is sometimes ourselves. We like ourselves, but we don't love ourselves. And until we love ourselves, we do not nurture ourselves. So that means we need to develop self love, healthy self love, so we can really nurture ourselves. And that's again when we start to focus on things that we need rather than things that we want. And that's a different things because you're asking questions. What will actually serve me? So I hope you reflect as well, because that's a beautiful thing. So because wanting is emotional, needing is development, and wisdom is learning the difference between those. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.